So today is Friday, January 12th, 2024, and it saddens me to say this, but I got fired today with no notice is going to be a common phrase said by many because of this really big problem sweeping through all of these companies and corporations and businesses. Employers are laying off thousands of people in what Kevin, my husband, Kevin247, described before on several videos of his as the greatest wealth transfer in history. This is the new norm. This is the reset. It is only going to get worse, but wait, there's more, because the new year is getting kicked off with a huge bang, and Bank of America panics as profits fall. Wells Fargo Bank does the unthinkable. Chaos erupts at Hertz, H-E-R-T-Z, in case you don't know which company that is. Dollar and Thrifty. A global system failure paralyzes all cars. Tesla makes a shocking announcement, and I can't believe what just happened to Treasure Financial. Welcome to Squirrel Tribe. If it's your first time here, thank you for being here. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. I love you immensely. Make sure you guys contemplate liking the video if you enjoy anything you're seeing here. Subscribe to the channel if you want more stuff like this. There are links to Patreon in the description, but there's also a link to ButcherBox. I've talked about ButcherBox with you guys before. I am in no way, shape, or form sponsored by ButcherBox. I just really like the stuff I get from them, and they have a lot of free things when you sign up. Right now, I think until February 5th, you can get a free year's worth of either grass-fed, grass-finished organic beef, or you can get a year's worth of organic chicken, which is really, really good. So there's a link in the description if you guys just want to check it out. If you've never looked at ButcherBox before, it is there. I would say at least look at it. You just never know. You may see something you love. Now, everybody needs to beware. The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign because Delta Airlines takes a horrific and terrifying nosedive. So Delta had a record-breaking 2023, surprisingly, with its best ever annual revenue, rounding off by a record December quarter, helped by holiday demand. But it's all about 2024 now. And despite Delta Airlines beating earnings and revenue expectations in the fourth quarter, the stock fell more than 5% in pre-market trading. And Barron's says that that's because the markets are forward-looking, okay? But even though Delta has started the year with an early disappointment, Barron's says its forecast full-year earnings guidance is between $6 and $7 per share. So if you're looking to get into anything, I guess maybe that's good. If you're trying stock market, do stuff, whatever. Now, Delta said unit revenue will be between flat and down 3% in the current quarter, and operational revenue will grow between 3% and 6%, which is good. Growth is good. They said that the Sunday after Thanksgiving was the busiest day ever. Not just 2023, my dudes, but ever for U.S. air travel, and how 7 of the 10 busiest days of all time occurred in 2023. Other airlines like American, United, Southwest, and Alaska Air didn't do so good, and what can only be described as a perfect storm hit from a variety of factors combined to ramp up the cost pressures, including new pilot pay deals, rising fuel prices, and supply chain issues such as aircraft delivery delays and engine maintenance problems. But most importantly for Delta, Barron's pointed to the latest breaking news and highlighted how the carrier does not operate any Boeing 737 MAX 9 jets, so its outlook won't be affected by the aircraft's temporary grounding following the emergency incident on board an Alaska Airlines flight last week, just so you know. Now, Google just made a huge announcement, and this does not look good. Just hours ago, from Business Insider Tech, Google just laid off hundreds of staff members, but you will want to know what the email said that they sent out to notify the workers, and I will read it to you here. So just the other night, Google laid off a bunch of workers, and the once leading online search engine giant eliminated roles in its central engineering division and on teams working on its Pixel smartphone, Fitbit devices, Nest smart home product, and Google Assistant. But to make matters even worse, Google fired all these workers with no notice through an email blast. Y'all, I can't. It's only going to continue to get worse, unfortunately. So 2 Google workers verified the wording of a termination email originally shared, but has now since been removed because Google controls everything on the anonymous job posting site Blind. Now, mind you, Google is one of several big tech companies to initiate a series of layoffs over the past year. They're not the only ones, but most recently, Amazon announced it was cutting several hundred roles first. Now, listen, because I'm going to read to you the email, the full email that I was sent to some of the workers who got fired. Ready? This is the email. This is how these people lost their jobs. Due to changes in business needs, Google has decided to restructure operations at certain of its facilities, including at the facility, if any, in which you work. This restructuring is scheduled to start on January 10th, 2024. Based on this decision, we have had to make some difficult decisions about ongoing employment of some Google employees, and we regret to inform you that your position is being eliminated. We recognize how much this impacts you and regret the need to move in this direction. We understand you may have a lot of questions. Please take a moment to review the information on the offboarding site, and then it gives a email or web address, support.google.com/offboarding instead of onboarding. Offboarding is how you get fired. Onboarding is when you get hired, right? Including essential tasks you need to complete, outplacement services being offered, state unemployment information, and information about requesting further HR support. You may also consider applying for one of the available opportunities at Google. Y'all can't make this up. If your interests and experience are a good match for an open position, you can apply for the position through the normal internal application process on Grow through your exit date and on Google's career site thereafter. However, we cannot guarantee an internal transfer opportunity prior to your exit. If you are unable to secure another position by April 9th, 2024, your last day at Google will be April 9th, 2024, which is the termination date, which provides you with a minimum of 90 days pay and related benefits from the date of this notification. Then it's got a little asterisk, and it says, please see note below on your exit date if you are currently on an approved eligible leave of absence. It says you will continue to receive your standard hourly rate or salary through the termination date, and you will continue to be eligible for company benefits, including accrual of vacation through that time, pursuant to the company severance pay plan, the SPP, in exchange for signing and returning the separation agreement and release, the SAR, by the date specified in the SAR, and the SAR becoming effective, you will be eligible for a severance package, as described in the SAR, starting at 14-week salary plus 1 additional week for every year of service, subject to all applicable withholdings and deductions. You will receive the SAR on or shortly after the termination date. A copy of the SPP is posted on the offboarding site. Please note that, notwithstanding anything else in this notice, if you are terminated for misconduct or the subject of a pending investigation for sexual misconduct or retaliation prior to the termination date, Google retains the discretion to not offer or to rescind its offer of such severance package. Between today and the termination date, the notification period, you may be required to perform tasks in connection with transitioning your role-related duties and to consult with your peers and manager to the extent needed in performance of those tasks. This is detailed in the linked offboarding site. For employees who are currently on an approved or have a scheduled eligible leave of absence during the notification period, please see below. For New York State employees only, just in case you're curious, New York got something special here. You are also hereby notified that, as a result of your employment loss, you may be eligible to receive job retraining, reemployment services, or other assistance with obtaining new employment from the New York State Department of Labor or its workforce partners upon your termination. You may also be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits after your last day of employment. Whenever possible, the New York State Department of Labor will contact your employer to arrange to provide additional information regarding these benefits and services to you through workshops, interviews, and other activities that will be scheduled prior to the time your employment ends. If your job has already ended, you can also access reemployment information and apply for unemployment insurance benefits on the department's website, or you may use the contact information provided on the website or visit one of the department's local offices for further information and assistance. For Washington State employees on Washington paid family and medical leave only, your coverage under Google's healthcare plan will end on the last day of the month of your termination date. This action, let me get a little closer here. This action is expected to be permanent, and Google does not recognize bumping rights for its employees, which means that terminated employees are not permitted to displace remaining employees based on seniority or any other factor. To the extent any notice obligation to you may exist under the federal and or state worker adjustment and retraining notification acts, this letter constitutes such notice. Google, Man, how would you feel if you woke up to an email in your inbox from your now former employer terminating you like that? I would like to know in the comments below. I did make a video a couple of days ago about getting fired, and I made the comment that a lot of employers want employees to give a 2 weeks notice, to give them a heads up when we're going to leave. But a lot of employers give you no heads up on getting fired. And a lot of people jumped in the comments and they were like, of course they're not going to tell you if you're being fired or give you an extra 2 weeks after they lay you off, because then you could start a mutiny, or you could just, do that quiet quit thing where you come to work and don't do anything, which is not what quiet quitting really is. We've talked about that before, but anyway, so for Google here to give them a January, February, March, April, basically 3 months, 90-day heads up of their last day of work, that's huge that's what they have done. I think that's a big deal, and I wonder how that's going to affect things with the employees that are being terminated and still be expected to work until their termination is fully done. You know what I'm saying? That's interesting to me. Meta reportedly laid off more staff in its technical program too. Managers at Instagram got fired, and it's part of the company's plan to reduce middle management. So if you happen to be in a middle management position wherever you work, just keep that in mind. I'm sure other companies are going to start following suit. Last year, when good old Mark Zuckerberg announced that Meta was laying off 10,000 workers, he described 2023 as a year of efficiency, defined by removing layers of middle management to create a leaner organization. Whatever, bro. Turns out the company still isn't done restructuring its organization, and according to Business Insider, Meta recently told at least 60 of its employees at Instagram that it's eliminating their position altogether. Just done, right? The affected employees are technical program managers, the people who go in between Meta's tech workers, including its engineers and the higher level product managers. And Zuckerberg said last year, a leaner org will execute its highest priorities faster. People will be more productive and their work will be more fun and fulfilling. No word yet as if Meta has lifted its hiring freeze, because they had a hiring freeze also. Now, speaking of making cuts, Elon Musk's Tesla just cut Model 3 and Model Y prices in its strongest market. And this is after Hertz Rental unloads and dumps their Tesla EV inventory in favor of gas-powered rental cars instead. When I told you so face that I want to make at just everybody out there who thought that EV was going to be the next wave. And I'm like, there's no way. It's not possible. We don't have the grid for this shit. There's no way that we're all going to have to get rid of our gas-powered cars. Also, the second we have a new president, or the second the world leaders get together and decide that this was a horrible idea, you're back to gas-powered cars. I mean, and when you see the rental companies dropping all of these electric cars, it's because they know that people are having trouble finding places to charge them, things like that, that they're not expecting to run out of battery power when they do, and they're stranded on the side of the road, or they're in some cold place and they can't charge because the battery won't charge when it's that cold, or they're in some place that floods and now the car is trash. You can see how that would be a problem. So according to Hertz, a company that had been actively expanding its electric vehicle EV fleet before, has decided to sell off approximately a third of its electric vehicles, totaling around 20,000 cars. The funds generated from this sale will be used to acquire more gasoline-powered vehicles. The move is attributed to the financial challenges associated with electric vehicles, because a battery replacement is really freaking expensive, including higher damage repair costs and depreciation. Hertz's CEO Stephen Scherr, Scherr, whatever, stated that collision and damage repairs on EVs can be twice as expensive as those on comparable combustion engine vehicles. The decline in EV prices, particularly driven by Tesla, has also contributed to lower resale values for Hertz's used EV rental cars, and the company anticipates a depreciation-related loss of about $245 million, capital M, my dudes, averaging $12,250 per vehicle, according to an SEC filing. Depreciation-related loss of $245 million. You know what that says, right? That says that when you rent your next gas-powered vehicle, you're going to pay more to rent that car, because they now have to make up a $245 million loss. Just keep that in mind next time you need to go get a rental car when you're on vacation, or if your car is in the shop waiting on parts. Like my Jeep was in the shop for almost 3 months during the worker strike, because there was nobody out there to make parts, and my Jeep needed an entire new rear differential, And I was stuck with nothing for a month before they got me a loaner vehicle. So that's that. Now, right now, Tesla constitutes around 80% of Hertz's EV fleet, and EVs make up about 11% of the company's total rental fleet. And 11% lost them $245 million. That is ridiculous, but it also shows you exactly how much money is in rental car businesses. That's a lot. Tesla's aggressive reduction in vehicle prices has influenced other automakers to do the same, causing a cascading effect on the used car market. The depreciation is a significant factor for rental car companies like Hertz, thus impacting their business and influencing fleet decisions. Now, Hertz executives also highlighted challenges with Tesla, citing higher repair costs due to a less mature aftermarket parts supply network compared to established automakers like GM. And if you watch Rich Rebuilds, Hoovie's Garage, and Lou Rossman, I think that's how you say his name, Louis. It's not Louis or Louis. I think it's just Lou Rossman. To hear all about that giant bombshell of a problem that is about to be dropped on America, well, at least those who opt into buying EV, suckers. I know some people love it. Some of y'all drive EVs. Not me. Not happening to me, my dude. But additionally, EVs, especially Teslas, are reportedly involved in more crashes, further affecting repair expenses. And so, Hertz sells its used vehicles through auctions and its Hertz car sales website. And the decision to reduce its EV fleet reflects the company's response to the financial realities and challenges associated with electric vehicles. Tesla stock fell 3% in pre-market action, and shares fell 2.9%, extending their weekly loss to 4.3%. So Tesla stock keeps falling. Remember when Tesla stock was here and then it suddenly just shot through the roof a couple years ago? I mean, that joker, it to the moon. Like, what's that thing? To the moon, Alice? Y'all, I do this every time. I can picture it and I can't picture it at the same time. I don't remember what show that was. Honeymooners? Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. If y'all know what I'm talking about, let me know. Also, let me know in the comments, would you ever buy a Tesla? Or better yet, do you own a Tesla? Or have you ever, and after you got rid of it, what did you buy next and why? Just out of curiosity. If you had a Tesla, did you get rid of it for another electric vehicle? Or were you like, I miss gasoline-powered vehicles. We're going back to the norm, right? In other news impacting and affecting Hertz, because that's not all, chaos in what resembled a cyber attack but was described as a global system failure ended up paralyzing car rental companies like Hertz, Dollar, and Thrifty, leaving customers stranded. According to reports from The View from The Wing, customers are showing up and they cannot rent cars. This problem lasted for hours and lit up X, formerly known as Twitter, from lots of complaints. Also, just real quick, thank you guys for your continued support. Again, if you don't mind hitting the like button and subscribe for the latest. Anyway, like the latest from Treasure Financial. Many of you may not have heard this. So the latest from Treasure Financial and how the fintech startup just confirmed they are laying off staff even after reporting explosive growth. So Treasure Financial, which is a fintech startup, has confirmed the layoff of 14 employees, affecting around 60 to 70% of the company. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're one of those employees, it is huge. People are like, oh, well, they only laid off 10. They only laid off 5. Well, to those 10 and those 5, it's not only they've lost their way to make a living. They've lost their income and a way to support their family. So whether it's one person or 10,000 people, it still hits hard and it's still a big deal, in my personal opinion. The decision, which was made in December, aims to streamline operations and align the workforce with current strategic goals and financial realities. That word again, financial realities, man. CEO Sam Strasser cited the need for financial stewardship as a driving factor. Back in July of 2023, Treasure Financial raised $7.5 million in a funding round led by Ventura Capital, with participation from PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel and other investors. The startup had previously secured $7 million in funding, so that's $14.5 million in funding so far. But despite recent growth, including doubling its client base to around 300 and almost doubling assets under management to approximately $500 million, the layoffs reflect a response to market conditions and organizational challenges. Bank of America profits fell more than 50% on one-time charges. And BOA is out with its fourth quarter earnings, according to the Wall Street Journal today. And the drop in earnings is largely because of one-time items that investors already expected. Plus, the bank said Lost my spot. Hold on. Plus, the bank said earlier this week that it would take a $1.6 billion charge. Okay, listen. This related to the transition away from the London Interbank Offered Rate Plus. Like its peers, Bank of America is subject to a special Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation fee related to the failures of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. Wells Fargo bank profit rises 9%, and the year-ago profits were dragged down by a historic settlement with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau over allegations that Wells Fargo loan and deposit products harmed millions of customers. The increase was largely for potential losses on credit cards and commercial real estate loans. Wells Fargo CEO Charlie Scharf said in a statement, "We are closely monitoring credit, and while we see modest deterioration, it remains consistent with our expectations." For those of you who have Bank of America or Wells Fargo, those may have been big deals to you. For those of you that don't have either one, maybe not so much. But the more things affect this bank and that bank, the sooner they're going to affect that bank, and then credit unions are going to be right behind. Now, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you immensely. I have groceries here in the seat next to me that I need to get home. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel if you don't mind, please. Thank you so much. I love you immensely, and I'll see you guys again later. Bye.